So, what if your face was a key? A key that could unlock a door you never, ever wanted opened? Well, today, that's not some sci fi plot, it's real. We're diving into this incredible story about a technology that links our faces to this massive surveillance network. We're going to talk about the fight over who gets to hold that key, and maybe even more scarily, how the same exact logic is being used not just to watch us, but to actually try and change our minds.
Wow. I mean, that quote from Mallory Littlejohn, it just cuts right to the heart of it, doesn't it? Think about it. We can change our names, we can pack up and move to a totally new city, but we can't change our faces. They're a permanent part of us, these unique biometric markers we can't just leave behind. And that is exactly what makes the tech we're about to get into so incredibly powerful. And for a lot of people, so incredibly dangerous.
All right, so here's the plan. First, we're going to look at a lawsuit that really puts a human face on all this. Then, we'll peek under the hood at the wild 50 billion face database behind it all. After that, we'll follow the money and see how ICE is getting in on this. Then we'll zoom out to the bigger AI political playbook, and finally, we'll look at how people are starting to fight back.
Okay, so first up, this story isn't just about code and algorithms. It's about people. A huge legal battle in Illinois really brought this whole abstract threat of surveillance crashing down into the real world, with actual real-life consequences. So back in 2020, the ACLU went after a company called Clearview AI, a huge name in facial recognition. But here's the thing, this wasn't some boring fight over patents or software. No, this lawsuit was filed on behalf of groups who looked at this tech and saw a direct threat to their safety and, in some cases, their very survival. And who these plaintiffs were is absolutely key. We're talking about survivors of domestic and sexual assault. For them, this tech could mean a stalker could track them down with just a photo. We're talking about undocumented immigrants, for whom this becomes a powerful tool for ICE to target them, and sex workers, whose anonymity is literally a matter of life and death. You see, for these communities, this technology wasn't just some creepy, unnerving idea, it was a potential death sentence.
So, to really get why these groups were so terrified, we have to understand the machine they were fighting. What in the world did Clearview AI actually build?
Well, it all comes down to this core concept, this thing called a face print.
Think of a face print as basically a fingerprint, but for your face. It's a digital map. The software measures all these unique points, like the distance between your eyes, the shape of your nose, your chin, and it turns all that into a unique, searchable digital profile. And Clearview AI, well, they've been collecting these things on a scale that is just mind-blowing.
Get ready for this number. 50 billion, with a B, over 50 billion face prints. That is, by all accounts, the largest collection of biometric data ever put together in one place. And where did they get it? They scraped it from social media, from news sites, from pretty much anywhere on the public internet. All of it, of course, without anyone's permission. So yeah, your face is probably in there. My face is almost definitely in there. And having a database that big, it basically creates a modern-day panopticon. It's this idea from the philosopher Michel Foucault. He described a prison designed so that the inmates never know if they're being watched, but they know they could be watched at any second. And that feeling alone is enough to change their behavior. That constant looming threat of being seen, Foucault called it the automatic functioning of power. It's the pure psychological weight of knowing you could be under surveillance at any time. Right, and this isn't just some philosophical theory either. This power is very, very real. The U.S. government, and specifically ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, they are buying this technology up, and fast. They're turning what was a private company's tool into a powerful instrument of the state.
Just take a look at the 2025 budget proposal. It reveals this massive shift in what ICE is prioritizing. Their spending on surveillance and weapons didn't just, creep up a little bit. No, it absolutely skyrocketed. Okay, look at this. In just 1 year, the proposed spending shot up from around $9.7 million to over $71 million. You can see the jump right there, but honestly, the raw numbers don't even do it justice. The percentage increase is what's truly staggering. 636%. Let that sink in for a second. A 636% jump. That signals a huge and really rapid shift towards surveillance tech and, frankly, militarization inside the agency. And guess where a big chunk of that cash went?
Yep, this is where it all comes together. ICE gave Clearview AI a contract worth millions. That 50 billion face database, it's now directly in the hands of federal agents. The exact technology that those groups in Illinois were so afraid of, it's now an official tool of the government. But using all this data just to identify people, that's only half the story. The same basic idea, the same playbook, is being used for something else. Not just to watch us, but to actually try and persuade us. Okay, think of it like two sides of the same AI coin. On one side, you have the technology of seeing. That's facial recognition. It sifts through tons of data to find one person. On the other side, you have the technology of persuading. That's AI generating political messages. It sifts through tons of language data to find the perfect phrase. See, it's the same playbook. Analyze a massive data set. It's just that the goal is different. And here's the kicker. It works. It works really, really well. Research has found that messages created by AI, like from GPT-4, can boost support for a political idea by as much as 12%. I mean, 12 points. In any election, that is a massive game-changing margin. We're talking about the same kind of impact you get from spending millions on traditional ad campaigns. But here's a really crucial insight. The AI's true power isn't about creating some hyper-personalized message just for you. No, it's actually the opposite. Its genius is in its ability to scan insane amounts of text, find what's persuasive to humans in general, and then test millions of different ways to say something to find the phrases that work on almost everyone. It's basically a tool for creating a super-powered propaganda at a scale we've never seen before. So when you look at the sheer scale of all this, both for watching us and for persuading us, it's pretty easy to feel overwhelmed, right? To feel kind of powerless. But even though big federal fixes seem stalled, a totally different kind of resistance is starting to bubble up. The core idea is pretty simple, actually. If you can't get one giant law passed in Washington, D.C., maybe you can build 1,000 smaller walls all over the country instead. And the best part? This whole strategy doesn't need Congress to do a single thing. So what does this multi-layered defense look like? Well, you've got states passing their own laws to regulate how federal agents can even operate on their turf. You've got cities just flat out refusing to cooperate. Then you have activists and journalists on the ground documenting everything. At the same time, lawyers are filing strategic lawsuits to tie things up in court. And finally, you even have business groups getting involved, pointing out how much economic damage all of this can cause. And here's why this whole thing might actually work. Like we said, it doesn't need a single vote in Congress. It just uses powers that states and courts already have. The end goal is to make this kind of mass surveillance so politically toxic, so legally complicated, and so ridiculously expensive that it just collapses under its own weight, to make it totally unsustainable. Which really leaves us with this one final massive question. The technology to watch and to persuade all of us, all the time, it's not coming. It's already here. The laws to control it, they're lagging way, way behind. So this whole fight that we've been talking about, happening in courtrooms and state governments, everywhere, it's really about one thing. Who gets to write the rules for the world we're all about to live in?